Kenya is a beautiful country with a rich history that spans many centuries. From the early days of the Kikuyu people to the present day, there have been many key events that have shaped the nation of Kenya. Today we'll take a look at some of these events and how they have affected Kenya's past and present. So stay tuned for a journey through time as we explore the unraveling of Kenya's past. Before we delve into the heart of this video, let's quickly look at some of the things you can gain by staying with us till the end. First, you will get a chance to understand what actually happened in the colonial period. Secondly, you will get to learn about what followed after the colonial period. And lastly, you will be able to know about the important role played by the first president of Kenya. Now make sure you stick around to find out more. Kikuyu, Embu, and Meru people are believed to be among the earliest inhabitants of the Mount Kenya region. According to oral traditions, they migrated from a place called Mukurwe wa Nyagathanga near the shore of Lake Naivasha. They were later joined by other ethnic groups such as the Kamba, Kikuyu, Turkana, and the Luo. The Kikuyu settled in the central region of present-day Kenya, while the Kamba settled in the southeast, the Luo in the western part, and the Turkana in the north. These ethnic communities lived in relative peace and harmony for many years. They had their own unique cultures and traditions, but they shared a common language and way of life. The Kikuyu were an especially prosperous people. They had a strong sense of community and worked together to build strong homesteads. Each homestead consisted of several families who shared resources and responsibilities. They also developed sophisticated irrigation systems that allowed them to grow crops like bananas and vegetables. Their society was highly stratified with age sets, playing a significant role in decision-making. The Kikuyu people had a rich culture with a deep connection to nature. They believed that the land was sacred and should be respected at all times. They also had a strong belief in the importance of family and community. This is reflected in their art, music, and storytelling, which often celebrate the beauty of the natural world and the strength of the human spirit. The arrival of the Europeans marked a turning point in the history of Kenya. The first Europeans to arrive in Kenya were British explorers who were looking for a suitable location to establish a colonial empire. They were attracted to Kenya's natural beauty and abundant resources and soon began to claim land for themselves. The Kikuyu people resisted the encroachment of the Europeans onto their land, but they were ultimately unsuccessful. The Europeans had superior technology and weapons and were able to defeat the Kikuyu. As the colonial empire grew, the Kikuyu were forced to work on European farms and plantations. They were paid very low wages and were subjected to harsh and dangerous working conditions. Many Kikuyu also became victims of the infamous hut tax, a tax imposed on African men by the colonial government. To pay the tax, men had to leave their homes and work for the colonial government, often in dangerous and demeaning jobs. If they failed to pay the tax, their wives and children could be taken away and forced to work on European farms as domestic servants. The Kikuyu people's resistance to the harsh realities of colonial rule led to the rise of the Kikuyu Central Association in 1924. This association aimed to protect the Kikuyu people's interests and fight for their rights against the colonial government. However, the association was disbanded in 1930 due to internal conflicts and the colonial government's pressure. Despite the setbacks, the Kikuyu people continued to resist the colonial government in various ways. Some Kikuyu men turned to the forest as a way to escape the harsh realities of colonial rule. There they formed their own communities and lived off the land, evading the colonial government's attempts to control them. Others joined the Mau movement, a violent uprising against the colonial government that lasted from the 1950s to the 1960s. The Mau movement was led by members of the Kikuyu people and other ethnic groups who were fed up with the injustices of colonial rule. The movement employed guerrilla tactics to attack colonial government installations and personnel, and it caught the British by surprise. The British responded with a brutal crackdown that resulted in the deaths of thousands of Kenyans. Despite the heavy losses, the movement continued until 1960 when the British government finally agreed to negotiate with the Kikuyu leaders. The result was the Lancaster House Agreement of 1960, which provided for the establishment of a new constitution, a legislative council, and a judiciary system. It also provided for the release of Mau prisoners and compensation for those who had lost land or property during the emergency period. Jomo Kenyatta played a pivotal role in shaping Kenya's path to independence and its early years as a nation. Born in 1890 in a small village in the Kikuyu region, Kenyatta's early life was deeply rooted in Kikuyu customs and traditions. His father was a chieftain and his mother a member of the prestigious Kiama, a Kikuyu council of elders. At the age of 20, Kenyatta left his village to work as a clerk in a European firm in Nairobi, where he became exposed to the injustices faced by the Kikuyu people under British colonial rule. In the 1920s, Kenyatta became involved in politics and helped found the Kikuyu Central Association in 1924, which aimed to protect the interests of the Kikuyu people. He was arrested several times for his political activities and spent time in detention camps. In 1947, Kenyatta played a significant role in the founding of the Kenya African Union, a political party that represented Kikuyu interests and advocated for self-rule and independence from British colonial rule. The Union successfully lobbied for the release of political prisoners, including Kenyatta, and pushed for a constitutional conference with British officials. In 1952, when the Mau Rebellion broke out, Kenyatta was arrested and charged with supporting the movement. He was tried in a British court and sentenced to 7 years of imprisonment. While in prison, Kenyatta became a symbol of resistance against colonialism and the leader of the Kenyan independence movement. After his release in 1961, Kenyatta's political career took off. He traveled extensively, meeting with international leaders and diplomats to garner support for the Kenyan cause. He played a crucial role in negotiating the country's independence with the British government, and on December 12, 1963, Kenya gained independence with Kenyatta as its prime minister. Under Kenyatta's leadership, Kenya experienced significant social and economic changes. He implemented policies aimed at improving the lives of ordinary citizens, investing in education and healthcare infrastructure, and promoting national unity. However, his regime was not without its critics, as he was accused of nepotism, corruption, and authoritarian tendencies. Kenyatta's close associates were given powerful positions in government and the military, and he often used his authority to silence opposition and control the media. Despite these criticisms, Kenyatta's contributions to Kenya's independence and early development are undeniable. He is remembered as the father of the nation, and his legacy continues to shape Kenyan politics and society today. After gaining independence from British colonial rule, Kenya embarked on a journey to establish itself as a sovereign nation in the global stage. The task before President Jomo Kenyatta was monumental. He had to navigate complex internal and external challenges while laying the foundation for a new nation. One of the first priorities for Kenyatta's government was consolidating power and building a strong central authority. As the newly independent nation was still grappling with the legacy of colonial rule, there were concerns about ethnic tensions and regional instability. Kenyatta, being a Kikuyu himself, came to power at a delicate moment in Kenyan history. The Kikuyu people had played a significant role in the struggle for independence, particularly through the Mau movement. However, Kenyatta's rise to power also raised concerns among other ethnic groups who feared that he would favor the Kikuyu over other communities. To address these concerns and promote national unity, Kenyatta implemented policies aimed at integrating different ethnic groups and fostering a sense of shared identity. He appointed individuals from various ethnic backgrounds to key positions in government and the military, sending a message of inclusivity and equality. Apart from managing internal affairs, Kenyatta's government also had to deal with the complex dynamics of the Cold War era. During this period, the world was divided into two opposing camps, the Western Bloc led by the United States and its allies, and the Soviet bloc led by the Soviet Union and its allies. Each side sought to influence newly independent nations like Kenya to align with their respective interests. Kenyatta's government skillfully navigated this complex geopolitical landscape, maintaining non-alignment and pursuing an independent foreign policy. He established diplomatic relations with both the United States and the Soviet Union, securing aid and investments for Kenya's development while avoiding being drawn into the conflicts of the Cold War. However, despite these efforts, the road to stability and prosperity was not easy. Kenya faced numerous challenges, including economic difficulties, social tensions, and external conflicts. Nevertheless, Kenyatta's government remained focused on its goals of nation-building and development. Kenyatta's government made significant strides in various sectors, including education, healthcare, and infrastructure. They invested in building schools, hospitals, and roads, as well as promoting agricultural development and industrialization. These efforts laid the foundation for Kenya's future growth and development. Moreover, Kenyatta's government was also involved in regional politics and international organizations. He played an active role in the Organization of African Unity, OAU, now known as the African Union, and worked to promote Pan-Africanism and solidarity among African nations. Kenyatta's leadership during this period was marked by a combination of pragmatism and idealism. He understood the complexities of the international stage and the importance of diplomacy and foreign investment. At the same time, he was deeply committed to the principles of independence, self-determination, and social justice. In conclusion, Jomo Kenyatta's leadership during Kenya's early years as an independent nation was a pivotal moment in the country's history. He successfully navigated the challenges of consolidating power, managing ethnic tensions, dealing with Cold War politics, and promoting national development. Kenyatta's legacy as the father of the nation remains strong, and his contributions to Kenya's independence and early growth continue to be celebrated. As Kenya looks to the future, the lessons from Kenyatta's leadership serve as a reminder of the importance of unity, diplomacy, and commitment to the welfare of the people. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on our latest updates. Also hit that like button because it helps us reach more people. Thank you for watching.